everyone's giving up their time, and we're really excited to talk about the Startup Network program for 2022 and most importantly hear from some of our 2021 alumni with Lisa, Lucy and Jack. So thank you so much for giving up your time to be here. So I'll just click on my screen. Hopefully everyone can see the PowerPoint now. I can't see your faces anymore, but hopefully everyone can see my screen. All right. So I guess the focus of today is to let those who don't know as much about the Startup Network. Okay, I probably won't. 2022. Really excited to hear about the entitlements that AgriFutures are providing for the successful participants for this year and some of the goals that we're hoping to get out of the program. And as I said, some of our wonderful alumni from last year are going to talk a bit about their startups and some of the work that they're doing to actually get their technology on farm as well. So the overall goal of the program is really about building the capability of our ag tech startups in Australia. But the real difference with this program is that it's all about adoption of new technologies onto farm, because we do see that as a critical gap where there is some fantastic technology out there, but it's not all getting into the hands of the growers. And what can we actually do to enable growers to use the technology and understand what's out there and actually facilitate trials of the new technology with some of the really fantastic growers who are looking for these new innovations. The exciting thing is that we're only picking 6 successful applicants this year because we've got so many wonderful benefits for them, really focusing on the mentoring and matching to grower mentors as well as industry experts. And I'll talk a bit more about some of the other program features as well. So the exciting thing about what you get, so AgriFutures have got some amazing benefits to participants for this program. So you'll get a bursary of up to $2,000 to help cover the cost of attending the bootcamp in Sydney and also workshops in Wagga Wagga. You will get matched to grower mentors, and it really is about that curating, that individualised approach. So we're really keen to understand what is it you need to advance your startup, what sort of connections are you looking to build, who can we help you to really drive the adoption of your technology. We will also be focusing on improving how you pitch your value proposition, because I think businesses at all stages, it's really an area that many of us do struggle with, and really trying to tailor that pitch to different audiences. So not just to investors, but thinking about how we can help to communicate our technology to growers better. And we'll also be looking at different opportunities such as, pitch events, field days. What is the best opportunity to actually get you in front of your target customer? evokeAG, we've got a fantastic investor dinner in Sydney on the 9th of June, and you'll get a special invitation to that. And that'll be really exciting to see, I guess, startups who are a bit more advanced than potentially where you might be at, because it's more that Series A raise level, and really seeing that, I guess, that inspirational, event where you get to see where you're aiming to get to as well. We will be taking you on some technology and innovation tours while we're in Sydney for the bootcamp. And then evokeAG coming up in Adelaide next year, which we're all super excited about. And as a participant in the Startup Network, you'll automatically feature in the evokeAG Startup Directory, and also get a feature in other evokeAG networks, including an article and podcast. So who is it that we're actually looking for? So I guess one of the real important parts of this program is that you are really keen to connect to growers, that you're motivated to get your technology into the hand of growers, and that you do have a scalable business model. Businesses obviously with a strong value proposition, and this is an area where we see a lot of businesses can struggle to quantify that value proposition, and really trying to understand how they're either solving a problem for growers that is a big enough problem, or creating value in some way for wide sector across the ag space as well. And hopefully you are someone who is keen to take on feedback from growers and industry professionals. I don't like using the word coachable, but it's about having that open mindset and being, really keen to get feedback as well. The key criteria is that you must be obviously a business registered in Australia. We're looking at innovations that are going to be solving on-farm challenges. Hopefully you've got a product that's already ready for farmers to trial. Potentially you might have had a few trials already, and we can help to scale that as well. And in terms of traction, it is, of course, all going to be relevant to business age. Isabel. Sorry, joys of being home with kids today. In terms of the timeline, the applications have already opened and they're closing the 6th of May. So we're really keen to see as many great applications as we can. We will have growers on the selection panel as well. So they're really keen to see technologies that are going to be relevant to them. You'll probably find out unofficially before the public announcement of the 2nd of June. So maybe if you do apply, keep the 8th to the 9th of June free for the workshops and tours and investor dinner in Sydney. And then we'll be running a series of online masterclasses from June to September. The topics will be tailored based on what the businesses who are selected need, and we'll select guest speakers relevant to the topics that are needed, and also be helping give you specific coaching on your pitch to different audiences. Then in September, as I said before, there's going to be a range of different opportunities depending on what your business needs at that point in time, whether it's, you know, opportunities at field days. Yeah, I guess discussing this one-on-one with businesses throughout the program. So myself and Dallas are here to answer any questions. We will open it up for questions at the end. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you want to follow up individually about something to do with your business, do also get in touch as well. Dallas, I'm not sure if you're well enough to jump in, and if there's anything you wanted to ask or add to that. Oh, Dallas, you're on mute. Sorry.
Oh no. Okay, sorry, I'll start again. Yeah, so last year was the first year we run this program, and we, you know, ran a really great online program, and our 3 lovely alumni on the call were part of that. But unfortunately, COVID threw a massive spanner in the works with our face-to-face event components, which we were really looking forward to. So I think that's something I guess we're looking forward to doing this year, is running those face-to-face components, because I don't think that can be really replicated. And I think, you know, that's a real beauty of this program, is getting people together, you know, at the start of the event, which is what the alumni, you know, gave us feedback last year, to get people together at the start of an event. And then, you know, we'll run the online masterclasses and then get people together at the end. And I think it's really important to kind of emphasize this is a very curated program this year. It's not an off-the-shelf kind of one-size-fits-all. It's really going to be based on the founders that get through, what their needs are, you know, if that is going to a field day at the end and pitching to, you know, thousands of farmers who are there, or whether it's more of a curated opportunity just to get in the room face-to-face with your right target audience. So yeah, we're really excited, and I think the investor dinner is a great way to kind of kick off. You know, you get in the room with some really influential people and have some really great discussions, but also see those startups who are raising Series A capital, to see where you can get through in the evokeAG journey, where that is the end of the pipeline. So we're super excited to run it again, and, you know, really glad that we're going to be able to get together face to face. And I'm really sad that Lisa, Lucy and Jack, we couldn't do that, but we're excited to, you know, offer the video components to really showcase your business as a bit of a, you know, consolation prize to not getting to get together face to face. But no, we're excited, and yeah, thanks, Tash.
Thanks, Dallas. Well done. Yeah, I think that's a really important point. You know, AgriStart has run so many programs in the past that are cohort-based, and we are such believers in the cohort approach, because we see the value that businesses get from each other. And, you know, we saw some wonderful connections made between our alumni last year, even in the online format. And we know that face-to-face, those connections with each other and the mentors and speakers really does grow. So we'll be excited to bring our alumni all together with the 2022 program participants at evokeAG in Adelaide in 2023. So that will be really exciting as well. But look, I'm really keen to hear from Lucy, Lisa and Jack about their experiences with, you know, getting their startups off the ground and getting connected to growers. So yeah, I might throw to Lisa if you wanted to tell us a bit about Thinkbio and some of the experiences that you've had working with growers. Are you still muted? Sorry, Lisa.
Sorry, thanks, Tash. So just in terms of Thinkbio, I co-founded Thinkbio in 2015, and we develop and commercialize biological products for application in agricultural crops to improve the sustainability of crop production whilst also increasing or maintaining production. So that's really what we're about. And our focus has typically been overseas. So the AgriStart program was really a great opportunity for us to look back onto the Australian market and have the opportunity to really try and connect with growers and learn and, really sort of drill down into some of the sectors. And in the program, as Tash pointed out, yes, we didn't have that face-to-face connection with the growers as they might have liked to, but it was certainly a really customized program. And, whenever I had the need to reach out and, ask about a certain sector, they would always try and find me a grower or, people to speak to within that industry group. So I could actually, have that connection with the growers at the ground roots level and learn more about that particular sector. So that was a really valuable part of the program for us, and, really appreciated the connections that we were able to make through that program.
That's great, Lisa. And I think that's the benefit of the AgriFutures network being national across Australia. So often for startups who might be, based on the East Coast, they might be trying to get trial partners on the West Coast and vice versa. And I know that's really important to get that access to a national network. So thanks so much, Lisa. Lucy, do you want to tell us a bit about My Farm Smart and some of the work you've done getting your risk management tool into the hands of farmers?
Yeah, hi, good morning, everybody. Yes, so I'm the founder of My Farm Smart, and I suppose as a broadacre farmer myself, I saw the need for a tool to help us make more informed decisions, and that's what My Farm Smart's all about. It's all about smart scenario decision planning, and I've been continuing to develop it to add new features in as we get the feedback from farmers about what they want in the program. And I suppose the network program for me, what it did for me was to be able to ground truth what I was doing with farmers, and gave me some really good networks. And I think gave me the networks across Australia as well. So I'm going to a showcase, an innovation showcase next year, and it's been delayed. I should have gone last year, but because of COVID, all these things have got delayed, and I think it's definitely slowed my progress down, like the COVID has. But this year I'm going to the Riverine to their innovation showcase, which they've delayed 3 times now. But really excited to go to that and show farmers what I can offer them over there with My Farm Smart. And I think the video, just having that out, the reach with the video has been, such a benefit, and it was a great program. And I think also the having the mentors such as Tash and Dallas, to contact them and say, and building those relationships, it has been great as far as the program goes to do that. And it just gives you those networks and people to lean on when you really, get a bit stuck. And it's definitely an up and down process being a founder. It's certainly, it has its highs and it has its lows, but it's just having that determination to keep going. And that's where I'm at. It's just that real determination to keep on going and really try and get it to work.
Great, thanks, Lucy. And exciting to hear that you're going to that Riverina event. I think it's just nice for West Australians to get out of the state again. So yeah, that'd be a really great opportunity for you.
Yeah, and it's very difficult being in WA. You do feel quite isolated, so it's a great opportunity. As was the network program, it was that great opportunity to get exposure nationally. So thank you.
See. Look, Jack, really keen to hear about TruckTrack, and I know you guys were in quite early stages when you joined the program, and yeah, you've had some really good momentum since then.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so basically TruckTrack is a mobile and web app that tracks location of livestock trucks and carrying cattle, and that shares it in real time with the sender and receiver. And it also works as a conduit of the information, and it's designed to better manage livestock movements through the supply chain. So I started out at Beef Australia, and we're in the evokeAG Pitch in the Paddock competition, and I found that was a 3-minute pitching competition, and I found that a really good experience to go into, because it's actually super hard to do a 3-minute pitch, and really enjoyed that. And that's where I met Dallas, and then Dallas mentioned the startup program was on, and that applications were opening up soon. So I thought, oh well, pitching something that doesn't really come naturally to me, so I thought, well, yeah, I should definitely do it again. So I was really excited about obviously doing the pitch work and going to the boot camp as well. So, I mean, being in ag tech, everyone's sort of in the industry, and then they've broken off and sort of having a go at their idea, but you're pretty disconnected, really. And so it was nice to sort of meet some people up at Beef Week, and then I was thinking, oh well, through the boot camp I'd get to meet some more peers as well, and like-minded people who are doing something similar, which I was really excited about. But unfortunately with COVID we didn't get there face to face, but it was still really worthwhile doing, even online. So it was great. So yeah, and it was just really interesting to hear about other people's journeys and what they're doing and how they've done it. And some people are ahead of you by a long way, other people are sort of behind you. So it's really interesting to hear all of that. And it's sort of one of those things I found that you don't know what you don't know. So you kind of have to be in everything to make sure that you're not missing out on something that could be really important to you. So I'd highly recommend doing the startup program, because it's really worthwhile, and you just never know where it could lead you. So yeah, that's it for me, I guess.
It's funny how we do get with our own business caught up in our own little bubble, and sometimes being in these sort of programs gets you out of that bubble, and hearing from other people makes such a big difference.
I'm back.
Hear from everyone now, if you don't mind, any challenges that you might have faced around working with growers to get trials done, or to talk about your technology with growers. So Jack, I don't know if you want to kick us off, anything learned from working with them?
Yeah, so challenges with, I suppose it's a bit different. We don't have growers. Growers don't apply to us because we're livestock. But I suppose we've had some trouble with some drivers. So the truckies have to create the trip, sort of like think of it like as Uber, except the driver creates the trip, sort of thing. And I suppose with that, we've just really taken the time to explain to them what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I think that's a really part, I suppose, in terms of like adopting anything. Not everyone's going to do it at once. So you have to try and find the ones that are keen to try it first, and then try and work back down the line, I guess, with the sort of most reluctant ones last. But I guess, we've found that, young ones pick it up straight away and are pretty good with it. But older guys, they can be a little bit more work. But if you talk through it with them and take your time to show them properly, then it's not so daunting for them, the technology part of things. So that would sort of be, I guess, what we've found with working with people from the industry and getting them to use the app.
That's a good point, Jack, you raised about, growers aren't always your customers. In ag tech, your customer is, not necessarily the farmer. Sometimes they're just the end user or the beneficiary of the technology. And it is really around communicating your value to, your paying customer, as well as, the beneficiary and the end users. And that's something we do focus on in the program a bit as well. Lucy, do you want to share some of your experiences? I know, farmers are super busy at the moment going into seeding here in the West. So trying to get farmers to find the time to trial new platforms can also be a bit challenging. Can you share some of your experiences?
Yeah, so I've got a number of farmers starting to use my platform, but trying to get, is getting them over the hurdle. So my real challenge is getting people over the hurdle where they're already using existing, they've already got existing systems, and so to say to them that this is a new system that will save them time, and is a great way to make more informed decisions and take control of their own data and their own decisions, rather than outsourcing it, which is what a lot of farmers do at the moment. Trying to convince them that they've got the time to do that is really difficult, especially at the moment with seeding, and even before seeding. It just seems that farmers, like us all, we're all really busy in our own little bubbles, and to have somebody come along and say, look, I've got a great product that's new, that will actually save you time, but also help you make more informed decisions, and could save you, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the decisions that you make, is still difficult to get them to actually take the time to give it a go. So I have got some farmers, and I'm hoping that the word of mouth, as they're using it, that word of mouth, and we'll give it credibility, and those guys will really promote it for me. So so it's slow. It's a slow process, and it's building a quality product with quality service. So that's what I'm really focused on.
Lucy, would you mind just touching on a bit of, I guess, the work you did in the early days, working closely with the grower group to really, I guess, get your value proposition and your MVP right? Because I think that was quite an important part of the development for you, was, that grower group interaction.
It was. So that's how I actually got going in the first place. Was I saw an opportunity for some funding, and to collaborate with 2 grower groups in the Eastern Wheat Belt of WA, and I went to them and pitched the project, and they were actually really keen to take it. So that was for me a really good endorsement of what I was proposing, and the idea was that, and has been to a certain extent, it hasn't worked quite as I wanted it to, but so we're in a bit of plan B. But the idea was that working with those grower groups and getting them to work with me as I was developing the tool meant that they would take it on board once the tool was finished. I'm still, and to be honest, I'm still struggling to get them to use the tool. But I think the fact that it's being born out of that collaboration gives it a huge amount of credibility, and also authenticity, and I know I've met the mark. So I know I've met the mark. I know I've met what farmers need, because the whole process, I took them through that journey. And because I've got those relationships with them, once the product's finished, so I've had that feedback that the product wasn't quite finished. So I've got 6 months. The next 6 months, I'll probably finish the product, and then I'll go back to those growers and say the product's finished. And that's when I think, because they've been on the journey with me, they will actually be a lot more able to engage them. So so my process, and I think it's really worthwhile actually creating that collaboration with a grower group if you can, because although it has its challenges, it's actually really valuable thing to do.
Thanks, Lucy. Time spent, really getting, the problem that you're solving well understood is really critical in those early stages as well. So Lisa, it would be great to hear from you, I guess, almost contrasting the experience you've had with growers internationally as well as in Australia. So any challenges that you've faced in that space?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Dash. It's interesting, the growers in Australia compared to overseas, where there's a lot more regulation overseas in terms of what we're doing and trying to reduce the use of synthetic fertilizer and replace it with, or replace a portion of synthetic fertilizer with our product, curated, which is a biological product. So I think that really comes into it, where there's legislation, that's actually influencing the market. In Australia, we don't have that sort of legislation, so we have to find the growers that are taking an active position in looking at reducing greenhouse gases associated with reducing their nitrogen fertiliser. The growers that are, as I think Jack and Lucy pointed out, that the early adopters, and starting there with the people that really do have an interest in the area. So that's, I suppose, finding the growers is one challenge. One of the other challenges is actually, although at the time of probably applying the product, they have all the best intentions of the world to, and really interested in this product, so it's actually trying to get some of that data out the other side, because at harvest time, it's obviously, it's all chaotic, and it's quite critical that, they're able to look at that data and see how the trials have actually gone, if that's in fact what they're doing. So in one sense, we used to actually hand out product samples and, try and sort of work with the growers, but often now we ask the growers to actually pay for probably a bigger sample and get them to do trials on a bigger scale, so that they actually have that vested interest in making sure that they do see the data and will follow the journey of the product all the way through. So that's certainly one of the ways that we've been trying to work with the growers to make sure that we actually have the trial data at the end. So yeah, that's probably some of our biggest challenges.
Thanks so much, Lisa. I think also be good to hear from you guys, anything that you've learnt around pitching your value proposition. So I guess that's something that many of us do struggle with our own business, and it's always a good one to get feedback from other people on. Lisa, have you found, I guess, having to tailor your pitch to different audiences? Any tips that you can share with early stage startups in that space?
Yeah, I think what was really interesting is that when we did do that session in the AgriStart program, it doesn't really matter where you're at in your business cycle, I suppose, if you like, early or later stage, or it was just a really good opportunity to go back and really revisit that and make sure that you maybe haven't deviated from, that messaging, in different forums and that sort of thing, or coming back to reevaluate, is that the right value proposition to where your business has evolved or your product or services has evolved, and where your target audience is. So I think that was a really good opportunity for us to actually go back, revisit that, and make sure that that was consistent messaging across the different platforms, as it really needed to be. In terms of the pitching to the different audiences, things, again, it was a really good opportunity to make sure we're having a good look at that and making sure that we did have the right value proposition tailored in those different circumstances.
Great, because it's a big part of the application form that the selection panel will be looking for this year is, really seeing that there's a strong value proposition. So, Lucy, I know that's something that you've worked really hard with your startup as well, to make sure, the value proposition for, different types of producers is quite strong. So if you could tell us a bit more about your value proposition, especially for the mixed farming enterprises, that would be great.
Yeah, so what I've done with my farmers is to really, to try and get the pricing right has been quite difficult with my product to begin with, and what I've done is, as I'm developing it, I've probably, I've put it at a lower cost, because I know those farmers that have taken it on board to begin with have taken on the risk with me to actually give it a go and give me feedback. So as I've developed the product, I've sort of staged my value proposition and the pricing. So I'm slowly increasing that pricing of the product as I'm adding more features to it, and and really trying to get those farmers understanding that the early ones, you know, were willing to take the risk and willing to give me the feedback and help me with developing the product. So that's what I've done, and trying to convince farmers, you know, to spend the time to use the product because they can actually benefit from it. And that's probably my next stage in my product development, is really to go hard in the next few months, because I've just got to the stage where the product's just about a complete product for farmers to go to a bank and say, this is what my business is looking like, this is what I need financially. We've now got a live feed from Zero or MyOb into my Farm Smart, so they can actually do that live, you know, live feed, budget to actuals, and also peak debt. So they'll be able to manage their peak debt using my Farm Smart, and which is, you know, is a great value proposition for farmers to be able to use a product like that and use it hands-on, you know, like throughout the year, and make decisions as the year unfolds. So yeah, so it's really exciting place to be, and just about to really hit the market hard and start advertising it, because I now feel more comfortable that I'm not saying to people, I'm just developing, I'm still developing it.
Thanks, Lucy. I think that is a really strong value proposition for farmers, because they work so closely with their banks to manage their debt. So having, you know, a tool that they can actually have some output that they can take to the bank, that's very powerful. Well done. Yeah. And apologies, everyone. I've had the kids and now my dog jumping up on me. Everyone's at me from home today. I've got 7 days of this, unfortunately. So yes, moving on to Jack, I'd love to hear how I guess you've gone about with, you know, truck drivers in particular, I guess, communicating your value proposition to them.
Yeah, so I guess we have 3 different stakeholders or users of the app, because it's a supply chain thing. So we have producers, drivers and transport companies, and then processors, who are, you know, abattoirs, feedlots, sale yards. Just abattoirs to start with, though. So that makes it tricky for us, because it's 3 times the work. But and that story is changing slightly depending on who you're talking to. But overall, I think like the value proposition has changed so much in like a year. Even like the pitch, the elevator pitch, the value proposition, you're always like fine tuning it and refining it, and getting feedback and go, oh, someone said something that was actually really good, or they really focused in on this thing or that thing. And then, yeah, so it's just constantly evolving, and you just have to keep evolving with it and improving it. But yeah, it's not something that you just sit down at the start and you know, pump out and you go, yeah, sweet, done. It's very fluid, that one. So I think that's just what you have to be, and I'm sure everyone else is the same. So that's sort of how we've done it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Jack. It's something that does continuously evolve. We're always refining for any business. So, and I think that's something people do forget, even as they become a more established business, is going back to their value proposition and back to their customers, and always, you know, validating changes in their business with their customers as well. So yeah, fantastic advice. Look, thank you so much, Lisa, Lucy and Jack, for those fantastic tips for the startups that we do have on the line. They'll be listening to the recording. We might just open it up now for if anyone's got any questions for any of our guests, or any questions about the program to ask. So yeah, if anyone wants to take off their mic and ask the question, please feel free.
Yeah, hi. Hello?
Yeah, hi Benjamin, we can hear you.
Hi. Cool, just wasn't sure, like I've had some technical issues with Zoom, so I just wanted to make sure that people could hear me. Lisa, really interested to hear about your company, because I'm also looking to get into the sustainable fertilizer field. Basically, part of the question that I had was, have you had any particular pushback from people who are, because one of the, one of the issues that I foresee is the manner in which we produce our sustainable fertilizer is we recycle it. Well, basically we have a tech that converts organic matter into like a biochar or a hydrochar, but you also get a liquid product as well. But I can foresee that some people may have an issue in some of the feedstocks that we're looking to convert, for example, like chicken manure or sewage waste products. So I'm just wondering if you've had any pushback from people who perhaps don't quite understand the fineries of what you're trying to do, or if they're just sort of set in their ways, and if there are any particular ways that you can recommend to encourage people who may be a little bit hesitant to adopt a new product to try this new thing out.
Thanks, Benjamin. Yes, I think, you know, in any sector of agriculture, you are going to find the skeptics and the people that are maybe not so open-minded, something new. And really, you know, that comes down to a process of educating your market and, you know, maybe finding a certain sector to work with or a group of growers to actually sort of start getting the education and then the traction, and then from there you're going to get you know, growth through word of mouth and that sort of thing. So I think it is a challenge if it is something a bit new, certainly from our point of view, you know, applying fungi and bacteria to crops don't have that sort of broader education around biologicals as they do overseas in the Australian market are very skeptical. So it has been a case of actually, you know, working with the right growers with it, that are open-minded, and then being able to sort of grow our grower base from there and build up that trust and confidence through that process.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other questions? Making it nice and easy while I've got distractions here in the background. Thanks, everyone. Look, often, you know, there's questions that people might ask, you know, once they start the application form as well. So please do feel free to reach out to myself or Dallas about that. We are really looking for innovative business models that are scalable and a real focus on grower adoption. Our selection panel is really keen to see startups who have got a focus on how can we actually get as quick as possible. So really keen to see applications that come through in that space. So look, thanks everyone. I'm not sure if Dallas wants to jump in and add anything before we sign off.
No, just thank you, Lisa, Lucy and Jack. That was really great to hear. And, you know, when you were talking as well, there was little snippets that I remember we did in the sessions that you were obviously had emphasised and learnt from in those sessions. So that's really good to hear. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing the applications come through and, yeah, getting everyone together.
Me too. It's going to be great to be in Sydney and Wagga Wagga for parts of this program and see the benefits everyone gets from the other businesses as well. So look, thanks again everyone for your time, and happy to field any questions offline as well.